Welcome back. Today's Get Ready With Me is for the mature lady who feels that her face needs a little lift, a little perk, a little pick-me-up. It's not so much about very dramatic, high-fashion makeup colors, so much as just using the right shades to highlight and bring out your facial features. So I'm going to work with a couple of different palettes. For the eyes, I'm using Makeup Revolution, very affordable. You can get this at the drugstore. And this is Makeup Revolution's dupe for Kat Von D's Shade and Light palette. And it is a very, very close dupe, and the quality is very good. For contouring and highlighting the face, I'm going to be using something by Anastasia of Beverly Hills. This is their powder contour kit, and this is in light to medium. And you can see I've got several different shades. Some are warmer, some are more neutral, some are actually ashy, to create contour and really bring out different features. So let's start. I'm going to use for foundation Clinique Beyond Perfecting Foundation. This is pretty much a full coverage foundation. You can also use it as your concealer, which I think I will today. And I did a couple things with this bottle. This is in the shade Ivory. I'm very fair, so this is the shade Ivory. I usually wear this in the winter time. And I took the rubber stopper out of the top because I found it was scraping off too much from the big doe foot. Now, on the other side, it's a little too much that I have to end up scraping back into the bottle. But I do find this is a lot easier to use. I'm going to use my Real Techniques brush. This is their setting brush. For a couple of these, I really like them. And for foundation application, I'm going to start in the center of my face and work my way out. I don't have any pronounced blemishes to cover, which is good. My skin's pretty clear today, aside from the always present redness from rosacea and that. And you can see I'm working in light strokes to really sort of thin out and move out that foundation. Now I'm going to dip back in and just take a little bit extra. I often use a beauty blender, a dampened beauty blender, and it's not always the Beauty Blender brand. It's often Miss A or Real Techniques, Morphe. I use all different beauty blenders. I don't necessarily use the brand name because it's so expensive, and I find that some of the less expensive ones work just as well. It's really a personal preference, so you really have to experiment. But I feel at $20-something a pop for beauty blender, if I can find something that works just as good and is even half the cost, it's a home run. But you know, at the end of the day, ladies, we're talking about sponges, and they shouldn't be that much money. There's a lot of markup on the beauty blender. I mean, and that's great if that's your thing and you don't mind spending it. For me, I like to change them every few months. I do find after a while they start to get sort of like little fingernail cuts, maybe from when you're squeezing it, or they just start to degrade. So I do like to replace them a few times a year, and if I can save money, I'm going to. So you see, I'm just kind of working this in very lightly. This side of my face, because of rosacea, is always more red right in that area. And oftentimes it works well. It kind of just blends in with my blush. But overall, I have to cover a little extra. I like to bring it down onto my throat a little bit, just to blend onto the ears. It doesn't have to be precise. It's just sort of a diffused blend out into the hairline a little. So there you go. You can see it's still a little bit red. I could try to cover this. I don't think it's going to interfere too much with my blush choice today. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm a little bit dark under my eyes, and I've got, I'm allergic to cats, and we have a cat, and she was laying on my blankets the other day on my bed, and when I went to bed that night, I think her fur or dander was a little bit left behind, and I'm therefore fighting a little eye allergy. I'm very sensitive to anything like that. Whatever's left in my brush, I'm just bringing up into my eyelids, and there you go. I've already applied my brow pencil. I had put that on earlier just to fill in before I went to the gym. And I'll probably just enhance it a little bit with my eyeshadow choices. So that's done. Now we're going to go right into contouring. I'm going to take this, I don't know how it's coming up on camera, the center shade. It's kind of a cool contour. I'm going to put this Morphe E8 brush in. I just tapped it into the powder, and then I'm going to tap off the excess on the edge of the table. Where I'm applying it is, I can feel my cheekbone. It's right here. I'm going at the bottom part of my cheekbone and tiny bit below it. So I'm just creating a little shadow there. And you see, I'm not bringing it past the outer corner of my eye. It's staying on this back portion of my face. And all that serves is to make the slightest shadow. That's all a contour is. Unless you're going to be on the stage performing under very harsh lights, if you want a natural looking contour that works in person-to-person contact, this is all you do, a little shadow. Now you can see my right side has that definition that my left side doesn't. That's all that was. Again, I'm going to show you on this side now. I can feel my cheekbone, and I'm working on the lower part of my cheekbone. So if my cheekbone is right here, I'm applying it to this lower portion of my cheekbone into that hollow just below the cheekbone. And I'm just blending it up and in, and I'm not going past the outer corner of my eye. Isn't that interesting? Another guide could mainly be where your sideburn is, if you had one. That's a good guide. I think I'll tap a little bit more on. Isn't that easy? Now I've created that shadow. You see? And you can see it's very even, and you can see it on both sides. That is a very good contour. I'm going to take that same shade and just enhance my jawline. And don't worry, I'm going to blend it. See how we created a little shadow there? Look at that. And then I'm going to blend it down. That's it. Even if you're not comfortable with makeup application, you can do that. It's just a matter of feeling your cheekbone and then applying some color and then looking in the mirror. Did it work or didn't it? Some people go like this and then paint it in the hollow. The only watch out with that is you don't want to come bring it down in through here, because it's very easy to, when you go like this, it's very easy to just keep painting, keep brushing. You really want to keep your contour back on the back portion of your face. See? That's what gives you the lift and the definition. Excuse me, the definition without dragging you down. This isn't Halloween makeup where you want to create a skeletal look. The other watch out is with contours, because they tend to be a little bit grayer, a little bit browner, to create a shadow. If you come too far down on your cheek, it's just going to look like a very dirty smudge. I've seen this many times on clients that are watching tutorials, or they're learning from maybe their daughters or their nieces or much younger makeup artists who, when you're younger, you can sort of cheat that a little bit and get away with it. As you mature a little, you want to keep everything back, because you're bringing everything back and lifting up. And you also don't want to add anything that's going to create a texture. So I'm very happy with that contour. Now I'm going to take a little bit of a blush. This is a NYX blush. It's in the color Peach. And it's actually a pinky peach. It's skewing a little more pink on camera. It's a beautiful color for adding and lifting a little bit of natural rose to the cheek, a little bit of a rosy glow to the cheeks. I'm going to use my Real Techniques, this new brush that's sort of a bevel shape. I'm just going to tap into the blush, tap off the excess, and here's where I'm going to work on the cheekbone, coming forward and on the higher part of the apple of my cheek. Why? If you smile and you apply to your apples, and then you stop smiling, guess what? Your apple falls down here and all your blush is down here. I want to go a little higher. Just underneath the eye area. And look at that. Now when I'm not smiling, this side actually looks a little more lifted, a little more color to it. And that's the trick with your blush. So go on the high part, always working a little higher. When in doubt, go high. See that? And then I'm just going to run a little bit over my lids, what's left on the brush. You'll see that at the end, when I finish my eyeshadow, the colors will all blend. And I'm going to take a little bit of that extra and just put it on my forehead. See? Now I've got a little bit of a color story going on. Everything is sort of blended. Nothing is left out. Easy peasy. Now, working into my Shade and Light palette, I'm going to work with, what shade shall I use? I think I'm going to use the center palette. So, I'm going to take this angled Eco Tools. I think this is Eco. No, Emax, E-M-A-X. I got these on Amazon. And I'm going to dip into this larger, neutral, sort of almost cool tone. It's a transition color. Now, here's a tip. I've got some good real estate on my eyelids. You can see my crease. I've got a good lid. If you have more of a hood, what you want to do is feel where your eye socket is. That's where you're going to apply your transition or your light crease shade into that socket. And then as you're applying it into the socket, you're going a little bit onto the brow bone. That's essential, and the reason is you're creating a crease. So you start at the socket and then lift the brush up higher to get a little bit of a thicker application right onto that brow bone. See that? It's more defined. I'll pull back so you can see from a distance. See the definition? And it's subtle. Now in the eye socket, I can feel the socket, and I'm going a little bit above the socket onto the brow bone. And the less lid space you have, the heavier your lid, the more hooded, the more you work that into your brow bone. See? It's natural. I can build a little more on. And I'm using, this brush just happens to be angled, which just fits perfectly in that socket and just above. Choose your tools, girls. It's angled brushes, round brushes, fluffy brushes. See what works. There's no right or wrong. There are no rules. Just because a brush is advertised to serve as one purpose, if it serves a different purpose for you, that means it's right for you in that respect. So go for it. Okay, that's done. Also keeping with Emax, this little pencil brush, I'm now going to dip into this deeper color. And I'm going to use that as a light eyeliner, working right on that skin right above my lashes. See that? It just defined this area, made my lashes look a little bit thicker. All just from you choosing your colors wisely. That's it. And you know, you can build it up a little bit more if you feel like you need it. You can go a little bit extra on the outside if you want to open up the eye a bit on the outside. If your eyes droop down, angle it up a little. If your eyes droop up or already up, just go straight out to open the eye. That's all you have to do. I could add a little bit underneath. I think I'm going to leave it very plain underneath just to really brighten the eye up. Now, I'm kind of working backwards. I'm taking my paddle brush, and this one's by e.l.f. I'm going to dip into this light shade right there. And I'm going to put that on my lower lid. And I'm making sure to get it right inside here. I tend to be a little dark there, and a lot of us are. See how that brightened? Now I'm just going to do the same thing on the other side. And I'm getting in that section where it's always a little bit dark. Now, whatever's left on my brush, I'm just going to go right underneath the brow to highlight. These are mattes, so I don't have to worry about any glitter or anything like that. And I think I'm going to go back into that first light shade and just go a little bit more over that crease. And I'm blending, blending, blending. That's it. Now I like the way that looks. That I think is just perfect. Yeah. That's it. very natural, very soft. I could put a little bit of mascara on if I want to. I usually do. That'll be my last thing to do. Let's go into lips right now. Wet n Wild 666 Brandywine. And actually, before I do that, I've got very naturally red lips. Never really appreciated that feature. Always like to neutralize it out. So I'm taking my brush that I use for my foundation, and I'm just, whatever's left on it, I'm just kind of neutralizing my mouth. See? Now I'm going to draw in my line. This lip liner is so pretty. On me, it's truly your lips but better. It's my lip color but a little bit nicer, for me anyway. And for many people, I think it'd be a great alternative to like a real nude that is too gray. This is really pretty. If you can't find it in the drugstore, you can go right to their website. It's 99 cents, I think, for one, or $1. I mean, $1.06, I don't know, something. It's crazy cheap. And it's a good quality. It wears pretty well. And I'm just filling in a little bit. So there you go. And you saw, if you look carefully, I didn't fill it in evenly. I just kind of scribbled it. Doesn't have to be complicated. Now, this is a little bit of a pricey investment, but this is in the shade Tinseltown. This is by City Cosmetics. City Makeup, City Cosmetics, I think. Anyway, this is their City Lips. And if you Google City Lips, this will come up. It's one of their best-selling items. It's a really great lip plumper. It doesn't sting or burn. You can feel it working. It's got a lot of peptides in it. It's a great moisturizer. It is so good. I can't believe how it's smoothed out the quality and condition of my lips. And I do think it plumps. But not in an overt way and not in an uncomfortable way. And I love this color. I'm a gloss. I prefer gloss to lipstick, so this is right up my alley. Feels good. It has a nice scent to it. So I do think I could do a little bit more touch up to my brows. I'm going to take that pencil brush and I'm going to dip into the brown color that I used as my eyeliner. I'm going to add a little bit to my brows. And notice I'm starting not at the point, I'm starting off the point and working my way towards the tail. The reason is that'll give you a softer result. It'll give you a more natural blended result. And you'll see that as I bring it forward, it looks, very little effort there. Again, not quite at the end, blending it out, and then going back to fill in. Why I tweezed my eyebrows? I guess many of us did back in the 90s, right? It is what it is. But I think that's good. And remember, eyebrows should always be sisters, not twins. They don't have to be perfectly matched. So that's my natural look. I think I will just hop off camera for one moment and grab a mascara. Back. This is the Estee Lauder Sumptuous Knockout in black. And I'm just going to apply that. I think I got a little bit on my lid. What you do when you get it onto your skin, let it dry, and then you can gently rub it off with an eyelash comb or brush, eyelash brush I should say, or a Q-tip. It'll come right off. This mascara is so nice. It thickens, it lengthens, it's easy to remove. I really enjoy it. My next endeavor, though, when I'm finished with all of my mascaras that I have, I'm going to start looking for drugstore inexpensive mascaras that perform just as well as expensive premium mascaras, because it bothers me to spend a lot of money on a mascara, even though I know how important it is, because there's nothing worse than bad mascara. There, done. So that's my finished natural look. I think that my face does look a little bit more lifted than before. It looks fresh. I don't look overly made up. I'm presentable and I feel good in this. And I feel like it's enhanced my natural features. It's evened me out a little bit. And that's it. Now, could I have gone more extreme? Of course, you can always, more is more, and you can always add more. But if you're a little shy of applying makeup and you're not quite sure how to enhance your features or how to give yourself a little bit of a lift, start simply with very natural earthy tones. A few good brushes are all you need. And just practice. Look in the mirror, get to know where your face is, feel where your cheekbones are, feel where your eye socket is. Become familiar with that because that is unique to you. And anything you do, as long as you're working with that map that is your face, you'll be fine. Thank you for watching, and please give a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button, and I hope to see you again real soon. Bye.